When the birds sing in the trees, I am their song. This journey I have made, one day you'll make it. You too will be with my forever friend. It's then once more that we will be together. I'll meet you just beyond the rainbow's end. It's then once more that we will be together. I'll meet you just beyond the rainbow's end. Yes, I'm waiting just beyond the rainbow's end.
Good afternoon. As you are aware, a wonderful lady has been lost to us. So we're here today to celebrate the life of Faye French. I'm Graham Sayre and I'm very privileged to have been asked to conduct this service for Faye today. I ask that you please feel free to be at one with your sorrow, your sadness, your grief and your memories. But I also ask you to also feel the happiness, the gladness, the purpose and the serenity of a life well lived. We're here today because Faye found the comfort of contentment and peace as we commemorate with sorrow but also with respect, joy and thankfulness the life of Faye. Thank you all for your presence here today, especially those who have travelled. Faye's family would also like to acknowledge the following people: Suzanne Smith, Jamie Hughes, Teresa Smith, Colin and Robert Stock, Jenny and Chris Kloss, Noreen Murphy, Anthea and Chris Price, and Jeff Daniel, who have sent their apologies and are unable to be with us today, but I'm sure they are here with us in spirit. Thanks also go to the many people who have telephoned, sent flowers, cards and messages to the family, expressing their sympathy at the passing of Faye. The family would also like to extend a special thank you to the staff of Star of the Sea. They have provided excellent care to Faye during her 10 years there. On days like these, it's also important that we remember people special to Faye, those who have passed away but are not forgotten. We particularly remember Faye's husband Colin, who has sadly passed away but is certainly not forgotten, and they are reunited once more. Faye Hughes was born on the 27th of April 1933 in Albany, Western Australia, to parents Hugh and Nellie Hughes. Nellie died when Faye was only a few weeks old, and Hugh then relocated to Moonta to be closer to family. Hugh later married Hilda, and then came along Pauline, Robert and Ron. Faye married Colin on the 20th of October 1956, and they were blessed with 2 children, Andrea and Meredith. Faye is mother-in-law to Rod and a grandmother to Laurie, Michael, Nick, Shannon and Sam. Faye is also affectionately known as Gigi to her great-grandchildren, Ivory, Lara, Lacey, Austin, Lenny and Angus. Faye was a lady of Christian faith, and she loved her family very much, especially her grand and great-grandchildren. In many ways, death unites us all, for it demands that each of us put aside our work, our business, and our pleasure to unite ourselves with everyone here. fellow mourners who share in a common bond of love and respect for Faye. As with any funeral service, we gather to mourn a departed loved one, pay tribute to their achievements in their life, comfort one another and give our support to each other. These are not enough to soften the blow of the experience of death. We can feel a great range of emotions: anger, pain, hurt, sorrow and grief. But there is one thing that cannot be taken away, and that is the experience of loving and the experience of friendship. When we lose someone dear to us, the hurt can almost be unbearable, but somehow we seem to get through. And I believe that is because we feel so much pain, because the inner ache is so great that the grief and the heartache we feel bears witness to the depths and the strength of our love for Faye. For you see, grief is a great indicator and measure of love. It simply cannot and does not exist except where there has been love. And so I'm sure that Faye would not want you to grieve in hurt or pain, but think of the joy that she has given, that she has received, and that she has shared. I'd now like to invite Faye's brother, Robert Hughes, to come forward and share Faye's eulogy with us.
Thank you, Graham. Got to wear glasses. It's one of the things, they're getting old, unfortunately. It's very heartening to see so many friends and relatives here today. I will talk a little bit about the Hughes side of things, and Andrew will follow on and tell a few secrets of the French side of things. And as Graham said, that Faye was born in Albany in Western Australia, and the family later, of course, moved across to Adelaide or South Australia, Moota in particular. She was educated in the Moota primary and high schools, and after a school year she commenced employment with Keith and Nancy Tomlinson's cafe in George Street, Moota. And when the Tomlinsons sold the cafe, Faye commenced employment in the Kentish clothing factory in Wallaroo for a period before taking on housekeeping for a farmer's family. And I'm sure most of the locals here can remember the old Kentish clothes factory up at Wallaroo. Every morning she'd get up early, catch the workers' train, and of course come home on the workers' train as well. And what they did on the train to and fro, we really don't know, and I don't want to know either. Somewhere along the line, she gained employment in Craven's retail store in Rundle Street. And I just wonder if anybody can remember where Craven's used to be, which was on the corner of Boltney and Rundle Streets there, where she stayed until her marriage to Colin. Faye was very proud of her job, especially working in the fashion department, and that's not a surprise really, is it? She was also caught a female shopper, helping herself to fashion handbags, and Faye was very proud of that and often mentioned it when we saw her. During her time in Adelaide, she boarded with Ada and Watts Fidge, and they are the relatives on the Hughes side. Faye also learnt to play the piano. Actually, she was a good pianist. I can remember Mum taking Pauline and Faye to a pleasant Sunday afternoon at the East Moota Methodist Church, where both the girls played a duet as an item during the afternoon. And I've said to Pauline about it a couple of times, and she can't remember playing the piano, but I certainly can the duet. Faye won, she finished first, so there we go. Courtship days, Colin French became a regular visitor on his AJS motorbike. You could hear him coming from around Bald Hills, and you heard him go on his motorbike when he went home. Faye would sit on the pillion seat and hang on for a dear life. No helmets or safety equipment in those days. I understand that Colin used to motor to Adelaide on occasions to pick up Faye from work and bring her home to Moota on the back of the bike. And just think, 100 miles sitting on a pillion seat on a motorbike in those days. At the end of the weekend, she travelled back to Adelaide by the train. After their marriage, they reside in their home in Taylor Street in Kadina. Faye loved playing sport, especially tennis and netball, which she enjoyed very much during early years. I can remember playing tennis with her on occasions, but she always won. My answer is that she was 7 years older than me and she was stronger, so we'll leave it at that. Later, she watched all the tennis on the television, especially the Davis Cup and the competition played in Melbourne. She also followed the Crows, the AFL club. And as you can see today, there's a little bit of remembrance there, the Crows colours. And I asked her one day, who was her favourite Crows player? And straight away she said, Tony Modra. I like the way he wears his shorts. That was her answer. Faye and Colin owned a boat and went fishing on a regular basis, chasing King George whiting, launching from Wallaroo and occasionally from Port Hughes. Always caught a good feed, which they shared with Colin's parents. Faye loved eating blue crabs, and that's nothing wrong either, so do I. They both enjoyed many holidays together, both overseas and all over Australia, caravanning. They cruised about the Pacific and holidayed in the USA and reaching New York. The caravan trips took them everywhere. And would you believe her favourite camping spot was up at Corumba, which is North Queensland, on the Gulf of Carpentaria. And as far as I'm concerned, that was the end of the earth, because to me it's not much of a place. However, they enjoyed camping there, and of course Colin loved his fishing. Many of their caravan trips took them to Tamworth for the Country Music Festival, and that was an annual event. They both loved country style music, and I think her favourite artist was Daniel O'Donnell, which has been played today, so I was right there. And of course she owned many of his CDs plus other artists. One of the things she liked was the annual family get-together, which our father started and insisted that we as a family keep going, which is we did. But of course, unfortunately, COVID-19 came, the Chinese disease, as I call it, and that sort of upset everything. But I feel sure it will get back again together. All members of the Hughes family descendants in turn hosted the event during December, which was most successful. Father Christmas came and presented all the kids a present. A couple of years I can remember, someone gave each kid a torch, and whoever gave the torch copped it next year because the kids were presented with water pistols. So there we go. And we know, as Graham said, Faye is a Christian. She loved her church. She enjoyed the Uniting Church in Kadina, the Women's Fellowship in particular. She assisted with cooking to help with the catering, and she also had many friends who worshipped at the Anglican Church in Kadina. I think she specialised in making cream puffs, and I'll give her a 10 out of 10 for her effort as far as cream puffs are concerned. Fashion. She always liked to keep up her appearance, nice clothes and jewellery, handbags and especially shoes. I cannot recall seeing her without lipstick on. Even in the Star of the Seas, a day when she wasn't well, she always had her licky on. So there we go. Julie and I visited her at the Star of the Sea on a regular 6-weekly basis, and as I said, she always dressed the best she could, sitting in her armchair, licky on and necklace to match. Faye was a resident of the Star of the Sea for about 10 years. Her health slowly deteriorated over this time, and she celebrated her 90th birthday there with a ceremony of her loving family and friends. This was a highlight that year, and I'm sure she had a wonderful time that afternoon, meeting all her relatives and especially her many friends who came to visit her. And I would like to especially thank the caring Star of the Sea staff for their love and attention which Faye needed. Danielle Price, thank you for setting up the Zoom every Friday. Much appreciated. Faye has 3 siblings, sister Pauline and brother Ronald and myself. And on behalf of the Hughes family, I'd like to thank you all for your attendance today and the friendship which you extended to Faye during her time with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert. Some wonderful memories. Faye's daughter Andrea has a tribute to her mother to share with us.
Thank you, Uncle Robert. These are some of Meredith and my memories of Mum. Caravan holidays with Mum washing the dishes, using velvet soap for detergent, and we even found a cake of velvet soap in Mum's room last week. Mum and Dad sitting around the kitchen table at home with Auntie Nora and Uncle Glenn screaming in laughter. We remember regular weekend evenings spent with Auntie Pauline and Uncle Jim. And of course regular visits to Grandma and Grandpa French and Grandma and Grandpa Hughes, going to the beach on the weekend and sitting under the jetty on hot days. Dad taught Mum to drive. Both Mum and Dad had a strong work ethic. We have memories of Mum ironing when we got home from school, damping the clothes by flicking water on by hand before ironing. This was obviously before steam irons were around. Family trips to Adelaide were a treat, with the highlight of the day being lunch at John Martin's Buttery. Meredith remembers that we could choose whatever we wanted for lunch, within reason, I expect. We've been told that after Meredith was born that Dad took the local paper to the hospital with a birth notice in it. Mum read it and threw the paper across the room in temper. Apparently her name was incorrectly spelled as Meredith. Mum was extremely house-proud, beyond the point of reason, and homemaking was a pleasure for her. Mum was a fashionista, had a flair for fashion. I only realised this recently. She's always loved fashion and always looked so well coordinated and lovely. Meredith has inherited this trait, and she loves fashion too. Mum was always self-conscious of her height, as she was tall, and I have not inherited this, as you can see. As you already heard, Mum loved her lipstick and always had it on. Meredith remembers she wouldn't leave the house without it on. And she always loved wearing her beads, even though Rob would tease her about it. But Mum would always say to me, up until recently, "Have you combed your hair today, Andrea?" She did not like my messy hair. She was in her element, as Uncle Robert has said, helping to organise the annual Hughes family gatherings with her siblings, my aunties, uncles and all our cousins. Mum loved her family and was absolutely devoted to her grandchildren. In later years, she became known as Gigi to her 6 great-grandchildren. I'm going to have to have a drink, I'm sorry. Thank you. Some of the grandchildren's memories are of her being particularly fastidious with washing their hair, with 2 conditioning treatments needing to be left in for 2 minutes. All the grandchildren remember loving how Grandma washed and massaged their feet. When they were little, she did it at bath time, and as they got older, they remember sitting on the edge of the bath still having a wonderful foot massage. Also remembered are a strong disapproval of ripped or torn jeans. And you can see a strong theme of cleanliness and personal presentation coming through here. Grandma let them ring the little bell to let Grandpa know dinner was ready. And they remember fresh tomato sandwiches, yummy milkshakes, stewed apricots and tarties, tuna patties and sultana cake. Memories of being in bed with Grandma and Grandpa or Papa and having shadow puppet shows with shadows on the wall from the bed lights. Grandma playing table tennis with them. Mum called Sam Hancy for handsome. Mum loved the romantic reality TV shows, particularly Farmer Wants a Wife. I asked Mum some questions a couple of years ago. When I asked her what was the best day of her schooling, she replied, the day I left. Mum sat at the back of the class and hated maths but enjoyed English. Mum also told of a time when she and Pauline were playing a duet on the piano at home. Pauline was playing too fast, so Mum pushed her off the piano stool. Mum's father taught her to swim. He'd won the jetty to jetty swimming race at Wallaroo. Mum learned from her grandmother Susan, who she loved, to be kind to other people. Both Mum and Dad had a strong work ethic. Mum was selfless and always put her family's needs before her own. Mum had a vast chocolate consumption in later years, as the staff of the Star of the Sea well know. As Uncle Robert had said, we had weekly Zoom meetings with Mum, Meredith and I and Mum's siblings, even up till a few weeks ago, and are thankful to the Star of the Sea staff for organising these. A thank you to Auntie Pauline, who visited Mum faithfully every week. Thank you so much to the Star of the Sea staff for their outstanding care of Mum over the last 10 years. Also thank you to a few special carers who went above and beyond their duties and were favourites of Mum's. And lastly, thank you to the staff for their respectful care, kindness and support toward Mum, Meredith and I throughout the last week of Mum's life.
Thank you, Andrea. Some more wonderful memories. Speaking of memories, pictures serve as a great way to recall them. So let's watch a collection of pictures that represent Faye's life. Enjoy the memories and the music. many more wonderful memories in those pictures today. To honour Faye's faith, I'd like to share with you the 23rd Psalm from the New International Version. The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Before we say farewell to Faye, let us be grateful once more for the tangibles, the impact of Faye's life on ours. Each of you will remember the good times spent with her. You will remember Faye's love for you, her love of life, and your love for her. Faye, you loved your family and they meant everything to you. You were always well presented and at times could be a little self-conscious about your appearance. Rod was known to stir you up when you were without your beads. You loved to cook for your family, and Rod always had a way of getting out of doing the dishes. He would flick Faye with a tea towel and she'd tell him to leave the kitchen. At her request, Faye was interred at the Kadina Cemetery in a private service this morning. Time for me to go now. I won't say goodbye. Look for me in the rainbows way up in the sky. In the morning sunrise when all the world is new. Just look for me and love me as you know I loved you. Time for me to leave you. I won't say goodbye. Look for me in rainbows high up in the sky. In the evening sunset when all the world is through, just look for me and love me, and I'll be close to you. It won't be forever, the day will come and then my loving arms will hold you when we meet again. Time for us to part now, we won't say goodbye. Look for me in rainbows shining in the sky. Every waking moment and all your whole life through, just look for me and love me as you know I loved you. Just wish me to be near you and I'll be there with you. Family and friends, it's time for us to say a final farewell to Faye. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose on earth. A time to be born and a time to die. Here in this last act, in sorrow but without fear, in love and appreciation, we commit Faye to her natural end. Faye, you are so dearly loved. You are in our hearts and minds, and we will carry you with us as we move forward on with our lives. Faye, everything you have done is still done. Everyone you love is still loved. Everything we've learnt from you is still learnt. And so we will let you pass from this world for which you did so much, for which you continue to do, because when we walk this earth, we walk it with you. You leave us with the strength and pride to do what is good and right. And your memory will guide us just as you did when you were at our side. For this we say thank you and goodbye. Faye, our dearest wife, mother, sister, grandmother, great-grandmother and loyal friend. Rest in peace, Faye French. Family and friends, that concludes the service here today for Faye French. On behalf of Andrea, Meredith, Rob, I thank you all for your attendance and your attention. In a moment, the family extend an invitation to you to join them for refreshments in the Mostyn Paul Lounge at the other end of the building. And following the immediate family, there's an opportunity to come forward and place a tribute on the table and look at the memorabilia that is there of Faye's life. I'd ask you to please stand as we come forward to place tributes. Thank you.
me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. Raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up to more than I can be. And thou, oh my soul, so free.